All right. Now, the Supreme Court has refused to interfere with Sebi probe into Adani-Hindenburg case. In a big verdict, the Supreme Court has held there was no grounds to transfer the investigation from Sebi to SIT, saying the George Soros-led Hindenburg and their report can't be the basis for doubting India's Sebi's report. The top court has said that the powers of the court to enter regulatory framework of Sebi is limited. There are no valid grounds, as identified by court, that are currently raised to direct Sebi to revoke its amendment. So far, investigation is going on path. The court has also added that Sebi has completed an investigation in 20 out of 22 matters. Adani has welcomed the Supreme Court verdict, meanwhile saying that truth has finally prevailed. Meanwhile, Congress has slammed Sebi probes. Congress says Sebi has been dragging its feet on the allegations made in the Hindenburg report against Adani for almost a year, adding if Sebi wanted the case could have been concluded long ago, but they stretched it for over a year.
Judicial Commission or Committee shall be constituted under the chairmanship of former Supreme Court Justice. And upon that, Honorable Supreme Court was pleased to form a committee and also framed some points. And in that, one major point was that whether any kind of irregularities are there in the Adani group which have affected the share market. And upon that, committee inquired and it submitted its report within a period of 2 months. So, the aspect of this petition and this entire scenario is the present regulatory system which is functioning is to deal with such kind of situation, or we need to strengthen. The committee has suggested some recommendations.
The fundamental fact report came into the public a year ago, and since 1 year the Securities India, which is charged with the superintending India's capital markets, has been dragged on the on the allegations. So therefore, if on a matter which has agitated not only Parliament but across the length and breadth of the country, if not the world, to even complete an investigation to show as to how lackadaisical Securities and Exchange Board of India is. The fact that Securities and Exchange Board of India, if it wanted, it in a long time back, and we repeat even in the Parliamentary Standing Committee of Finance.
Across to Nalini Sharma joining us live for more on that. Exactly has the Supreme Court observed while highlighting jurisdiction to wade into Sebi's extent, says that they haven't found anything to divert the case. Do give us more.
A verdict coming in from the Supreme Court, they have entrusted Sebi. They've said that the powers of the court to three regimes is extremely limited, which is why it's important the designated regulator for such activities. The entire case. Along with that, one very important takeaway is that the Supreme Court has categorically directed both Sebi to take into account the recommendations that have been made appointed by the Supreme Court, specifically with regard to India. They've said that all of the suggestions that the expert committee had made, Supreme Court Justice A.M. Sapre, should be taken into account, and the central government should work towards implementing the so that investors are not impacted in case. At the same time, the Supreme Court also made a very important regarding the use of PIL jurisdiction, because all of the for the Supreme Court were public interest litigations that were filed by and the Supreme Court has said that PIL jurisdiction was a tool common citizens could approach the court with their grievances, but filing PIL, especially on the basis of unsubstantiated reports, is against the interest of PIL jurisdiction, which is directly hitting out at the petitioners in the case, raising the aspersions on what basis their petitions were filed, because the Supreme Court very categorically in its judgment has said today that no SIT investigation or CBI investigation by any special agency can be ordered on the basis of unsubstantiated and unauthenticated reports, whether it be the Hindenburg report, the OCCPR report, or any other report which has delved into allegations against the Adani Group.
All right. Thanks much, Nalini, for joining us with those perspectives. The Supreme Court there clearly directing that Sebi will continue this probe. Thanks for joining us.